Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot and welcome to your full moon Halloween Gods at Play reading. Now, if there is a sign in the title below, then it's one of my standard format videos, but the actual reading itself will be taken from a live stream I am doing 6 p.m. GMT to celebrate Halloween and to celebrate the channel's first birthday. If you're seeing this beforehand, then it's going to have a general reading at the end. But as ever, I'm going to look into the full moon and have a discussion of what I see on the full moon. However, I can't do it as good as all the professional astrologers. So there is a link in the description down below for a Facebook page for this channel, where obviously I post these videos and where you'll find my live stream and what have you. When I finally do it, wish me luck. Mars and Mercury retrograde, so let's see if it works. But I also post all of the astrology forecast, weather report type videos that I'm learning from as well. And obviously it's right at the start of the month, or it's right at the start of next month. So there's a lot on there at the moment. I will recommend Ksenia Moore's full moon video, Wonder Girl Astrology's full moon video, and oh, there was a third one I wanted to point out as well. What was it? No, it's gone. I'll remember it at some point. But yes, I'm not going to be looking at the standard astrology because I don't know enough about it yet. I am still learning. I have the pleasure of learning from Rick Levine, who is great. So we'll see how it all goes. So, as I say, Facebook link down below. The good thing about that page as well, it has an inbox. So if you're wanting to contact me directly for a personal reading, then that's the way to do it. And as ever, as I say, if there is a sign in the title down below, there's also a timestamp in the description so that you can get past all of my waffle if you've seen it once already. And get straight to the reading, because really you should watch 3 of them. Watch your moon, obviously, it's a full moon reading. Watch your sun, because that's what we're all trained to do now, and that's the I am. But importantly, watch your rising sign. And if you don't know what your rising sign is, there is a link in the description down below where you can get yourself a free birth chart. There's no end of sites on the internet to get hold of that. And so what I'm going to do is I've put a lot of work into this video, so you're going to have to excuse the odd little bit of editing here and there, because there's a lot that I want to say and I want to make sure that I say it right. Now, as you're probably well aware, a full moon is sun opposition moon, and we have the moon at 8 degrees 38 minutes of Taurus, and therefore the sun at 8 degrees 38 minutes of Scorpio. Now, the moon is conjunct Uranus by a small distance of 3 minutes. You know, they are literally that far apart, their centres. So Taurus is a sign about stability. Uranus, not so much. Lightning, change, shock, transformation, great revelation. So we have the moon settling nicely into the stability of Taurus, with Uranus there trying to shake everything up. Now, that could be very interesting when we look at the time that we're in, especially if you are in America right now. So just because October is very nearly over, do not think that we will escape having some form of October surprise or another. Let's face it, pretty much every day of October has been an October surprise of some form or another. Now, the Scorpio-Taurus axis is one all about growth and change. Let me bring my notes up so that I know what I'm talking about. As the polarity, the Taurus mission is to root in and establish an earthly form, whereas Scorpio has that more transformative element to it. It has an urge to merge, to share resources, with the idea that the creative union will bear even more fruit. So if Taurus is about the shape of things, then Scorpio shifts that shape, and to do that uses its own resources and sometimes others too. Now, with Uranus in the mix there, the shape-shifting may end up being to an entirely new form, or something that initially might appear quite uncomfortable, because shock is exactly that, shock. It is never pleasant, even if it has a good result. You think if you open a door and there's someone that you haven't seen for years and years, and you're really pleased about seeing them, but you didn't expect anybody to be behind that door, you still have that moment of, oh, heck, there's somebody there, until it's like, oh, it's my old mate, and give them a big hug, or a socially distanced elbow bump, or what have you. But you've still had that moment of, so we're looking, really, I don't think we can make plans yet until after the effects of this new moon, or particularly the Moon-Uranus conjunction, has happened. Definitely, with this being the moon, this could be a sudden change in feelings. It could be a sudden change in the home. It could be a sudden change in the emotional environment. And it's Uranus. It could be a sudden change in anything. But it will be something that's fast, and it will cause a shift in whatever it is that you are trying to build. So let's just have a look at the symbols for 8 degrees Taurus, because every degree has its own symbols. We have the Chandra symbols, which I think is the same name for the inside degrees that you will hear astronomers talk about. Obviously, there's the Sabian symbols as well. Now, the Taurus, 8 degrees Taurus, the inside degree is a talkative woman with tape over her mouth. And what this describes is the creative force at odds with itself. What you would do, what you wouldn't do, facing the truth that everything personally generated fails to satisfy. Spirit is 8-4 in its absence. Something is missing. Massive pride comes screeching to a halt. It's a very high vibration, which again, if you think about Uranus, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, if I remember rightly. So communication that's coming in. And let's not forget that we've got Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde all going on in this. And if I remember correctly, isn't Mercury retrograde in Scorpio? Let me just have a look at my full moon chart, which all of a sudden I seem to have misplaced. Why would it not be there? Of course not. Anyway, there we go. I found it. So let's have a look. No, it's regressed back into Libra by this point, but it's gone into Scorpio and then come back again. So there is a sort of an element of that transformation power going on. Now I've lost my symbols. Where have I put them? No, that's Scorpio. A very high vibration, inward places calling you, but the abyss features radical self-overcoming. And there is nothing to say, everything to do, with nobody left to do it, except the forgotten one inside who knows the way. Now that is beautiful, and it really calls into that idea of the shape-shifting that the Scorpio-Taurus axis brings in, because of that very phrase, their radical self-overcoming. So this is hopefully a wonderful opportunity for us to move past one of our own blocks or one of our own goalposts. Do not forget that this is the night, right around the world, this is the night where the veil between this world and the next is supposed to be the thinnest. It is also the Celtic New Year. So anything that we set into motion tonight is something that or, you know, under the light of the full moon, which is really a 3-day period, but you can consider the full moon energies to be lasting towards the new moon, where the new moon wipes the slate clean and we start again. But there is support to be had, there is doorways to peer through, there are doorways to look through, and there's information to be received. And again, Uranus, being the higher vibration of Mercury, indicates that element of transformative information. Now, talking about it being the Celtic new moon and any changes that we now could be lasting over for the upcoming year. Sorry, the Celtic New Year, not new moon. Celtic New Year. This degree is ruled over by a degree angel called Rahael. Now, the sun is ruled over. Is ruled by an angel called Sitael, which I will get to later. But what they promise is longevity. This is what the Rahael within 8 degrees Taurus and various other degrees scattered around the zodiac promises health and longevity. So something that we can put into practice now, or something that we can build on the basis of, oh my God, where did that come from, is something that is going to last quite some time. In fact, let me dive into Sitael, who is ruling the sun at 8 degrees Scorpio, and Sitael is ruling both the sun and Jupiter at 20 degrees Capricorn. Now, Jupiter is only just 20 degrees. It's 20 degrees 59 minutes. So one could argue that it's 21 degrees, but I have no doubt that angels work in order and therefore they're going to be a stickler for mathematics. So we are within that 20 degrees Capricorn range, which means that anything that we are bringing into being, gaining that longevity with Rahel, is something that is going to grow. And what Sitael brings is a way to overcome adversity. Let me just have a look at my notes about him. There's yes, he is a seraph invoked to overcome adversity, rules the nobility, and one of the 72 angels of the zodiac, one of the Shem Hamethrash. But with him, with his ability to overcome adversity, both being focused through the sun, the I am, and through Jupiter, the expansive planet, the planet that makes things bigger. Even if Jupiter is still in Capricorn, it's making things bigger according to the rules, but there is a wonderful spirit shining through that sun that I wouldn't be surprised, especially with Uranus in the mix, is, yeah, we will expand with what we are creating to overcome adversity within the rules. And we might make some of those rules up as we are going along. Now, the decans that these are in are also ruled by the goetic spirits. Now, let me move my pad out the way and you can see the cards. So, change camera. And we have, for the moon and for the 8 degrees Taurus, we have Epos for the daytime and Amy for the nighttime. For the sun, we have Gamagin and Raum, and let me just bring the cards for Rahel and Sitael in. So here we have Rahel representing love and submission, which is part of his astrological designations, but Sitael, the creation of all things, which I have to say is a very, very beautiful, beautiful image of what we can create. And we are in a time, especially in America, where creation is called for, where in America you have your vote. Use your vote. Definitely vote. People died so that you could use that vote. Whatever your political leanings are, voting is better than not voting. It means that you are actually exercising your say. And like any election, yeah, it probably is the lesser of two evils. I certainly think that there is a greater and a lesser evil, as I imagine anybody with any opinions about anything to do with American politics thinks one way or another. And a lot of elections, you have to hold your nose. But it's better than just leaving it up to everybody else, I think, is one way to look at it. But there is so much promise of change after we have whatever shock revelation that it is. Now, with the decans and the Goetic spirits, now the Goetia is the 78, 78, no, that's tarot card, 72 demons that Solomon summoned and bound to build his temple. They each controlled decans, and one controls a decan in the daytime and one controls the decan in the nighttime. So with the moon and Epos and the sun and Gamagin, or Samagina, as he is known. Now, this to me indicates a time of revelation. Strangely enough, revelation, especially concerning those who have passed on in sin, which is that Epos, or is that, yes, that's Gamagin or Samagina. He teaches the liberal sciences and delivers news about people who have died in sin. He can summon the souls of drowned men and those who are in purgatory. Whereas Epos imparts confidence, eloquence, presence, independence, inspiration, humour, grace and bravery. He can also cause destruction. He can reconcile friendships, reveal secrets. So again, we've got that image of revelation of some secrets, and influence decisions. And you can say that in a political campaigning period, there's a lot of people trying to influence decisions. He rules over self-development and divination. And what was it that Chandra symbol was saying with Taurus? That radical self-overcoming. So for the daytime energies, if the full moon's in the daytime, any form of transformation that you are embarking upon has that little bit of whammy, that little bit of extra support that you might not have accepted beforehand. Now let's have a look at what's going on at night time. Now this is Raum, and Raum with the sun, 8 degrees Scorpio, and Amy with 8 degrees Taurus. Now, Amy is a warrior. Raum steals and relocates treasures, often from kings. I'll leave that one there. Now, what I can draw from that sort of reaction, so this is where the full moon is happening at night time. It can be people fighting to keep or regain what they have, had, or more to the point, those that are in power losing resources while the general populace is empowered to fight and to stand up. And this standing up point is another part of this full moon, which I will explain, because I drew a chart for the end of the Mayan calendar for the point that the sun goes into 0 degrees Capricorn back in 2012. So that was the 21st of December. I think it was also one of the doomsdays, wasn't it? Oh my God, the Mayan calendar is coming to an end. That's it. The world's cancelled. Yeah. How do you think about that now? Now we know what a cancelled world looks like. Now, the sun in this full moon, 8 degrees Scorpio, is conjunct the Saturn out of that chart. Now, let me just find, because I've put some notes down here. Of course, I'm not finding it very... here we go. So, yes, it is conjunct to the Sun by 1 minute. 1 minute. I mean, they are practically on top of one another. Now, the when the Sun conjuncts Saturn, let's have a look what I've got written here. It's a time to stand up. It can be a time of great satisfaction with achievements, recognition and promotion, and it can also be the other side, a time of privation, insecurity and hardship. Now, I imagine there's going to be an element of either or going on. Again, if you look at the political scene, but it's not just all about America. This is this personal transformation energy is worldwide. And there are certainly a lot of political forces acting worldwide at this same time that will all benefit or be debilitated by this very transit. Now, if you think about what the end of the Mayan calendar was, the Mayan calendar, the Bactun, is a huge cycle, and astrology is all about cycles. And the fact that we are being called to remember through the I Am, through the Sun, to the chart of the end of the Mayan calendar, to the planet of time, of, yes, restrictions, but more to the point, lessons. I mean, one thing that you do have to remember is, okay, Kronos ate his children. Yeah, we know. But he also ruled over a golden age on the earth before those children all managed to escape, thanks to Zeus being hidden in a cave. So it is that ancient golden age. It is a promise of that golden age, which again, the end of the Mayan calendar did used to talk about. Now we're going to start elevating. So if you want to talk about all the here comes the age of Aquarius business, you can do. I'm still not entirely sold that we are anywhere near Aquarius, but if you think about it, that's not a change that's going to change like that. That's a change that's going to have the world change over the course of, at the very least, several decades, if not a few hundred years. But I think it is absolutely beautiful that this one full moon, on the night where the veil is thinnest, is calling us back to the energies of the great cycle of the Mayan calendar, with the message, it is time to stand up and be counted. Sun conjunct Saturn transit means you must stand up and be counted. Hard work, discipline and patience are needed to attend to your duties and obligations, and you may have to take on extra responsibility or act as a mentor and guide. Now, if we are here to change the planet, let's get on with it. There's your extra work and responsibility. If we are here to help other people realise their role in changing the planet, being that mentor and guide, get on with it. Also, be aware that this is an energy affecting everybody, so you may suddenly find the arrival or the influence of a mentor or guide is really appropriate for you right now. But as we hear so many times, and America has definitely heard this so many times over the past few weeks, we are at a precipice. We are at a precipice with the virus. We are at a precipice politically. There are war tensions across the planet. There are political unrest across the planet. And there are people trying to enforce lockdowns. Some for, well, Hopefully all of them for the good reason of trying to get rid of the virus. But lots of people are questioning that one way or another. So, you know, there's so many different ways that you can look at things. I personally think there is a killer virus on the loose. Let's minimize contact for the time being, because with a sky like this, there is plenty of work we can be getting on with, and there is plenty of personal transformation that we can be getting on with. Now, what is also interesting is that this 8 degrees Taurus, let me find my note here, is that of, no, it's the sun. So again, it's that time to stand up and be counted. Is Edgar Allan Poe's North Node. So if you want to think about someone who has, with the effect of their life, have done something with longevity that has stood the test of time. We all know Poe's stories to this day. We all know what Poe represents. There's a rather interesting point about how he was supposed to have died. Let me just bring those details up. Give me a second. No, that's not there. So basically, he had died of what looks like alcoholism, or at least, and he was a known drinker, but at least on the night where he was found, he was utterly, not sure what word I can use on YouTube and not get struck for it. So he was drunk. He was very, very drunk. But there's a really interesting one theory from 1872. I got this from Wikipedia. You know, I do all the best research. Suggests that cooping was the cause of Poe's death. Now, what this is a form of electoral fraud in which citizens were forced to vote for a particular candidate, sometimes leading to violence and even murder. So they would get somebody drunk and then take them from polling station to polling station to polling station, getting them to vote for the specific candidate of their choice. That's something I think that we need to watch out for, because remember, it is time to stand up and be counted. It is time to transform. It is time to overcome your own barriers and really, really transform. And I think that's everything that I want to talk about in this video about the full moon. I have another aspect of the full moon that I'm going to discuss in a separate video, because I'll give you a quick précis of it. I'm a comics geek. You can tell somewhat, can't you? So I very much see superheroes and the comic superheroes as a modern mythology. They are playing out those archetypal stories again and again and again. So as I started learning astrology, I was like, well, this is so heavily mythology based. Oh, I will have a look at various points in comics history. You know, I've drawn up charts for when certain characters are introduced to the public. So it's publication day, New York, 6 a.m. always, depending where the company is based, but pretty much New York, 6 a.m. Of the shipping day of that comic, and that is the birth of a character. I can discuss that another time. But I also have done charts for the publication just of certain comics. This full moon is conjunct the Mars of DC's 2005 crossover, Infinite Crisis. Now, if you follow comics, you know what I'm talking about. If you're interested on where I'm going to go with this, keep your eye out for my Infinite Crisis full moon video, which I'm going to film after this one. But in the meantime, back to the more serious stuff. Let me shuffle cards and start the general reading. So here we go, a reading for Virgo. So Virgo, this full moon is occurring in your 9th house. So that'll be your 9th and your 3rd. Yeah, that's right. the ninth and your third house. So your house of education, your house of more experiences, or the cultural experiences, as I was just saying. Let's have a shuffle of these, and then we'll get your God cards out. Right, so the top row, as I've said for each reading before, I suppose I should change the camera so you can see what I lay on the table. The top row is the archontic masks, where the archons pretend to be the gods and pretend to work their authority over us so that it keeps us, well, suppressed, away from the divine, away from our higher purpose. The bottom row, okay, that one wants to come out, which is here. That's an interesting pairing. Represents the true gods, the pagan gods, the ones that already exist within the divine and want us to join them, or don't give a hoot one way or another, because when all said and done, the pagan gods are, depending on who they are, they can very often be just a force of nature. The wind doesn't really care whether you fall over or whether you stand up. The wind just wants to blow. So, the first pairing we have is Achilles with confidence, as I get it, is Achilles with confidence as the archontic mask, and then we have Set with chaos. And I'm almost feeling like okay, there's something arises that you are required to deal with. And there's a feeling of, if you don't deal with it, things get beyond control. And if you, but you feel quite confident in dealing with it. And I would say that, you know what? Let things get beyond control. Because there is a greater purpose here. So a little bit of chaos does you good. So we have on the Archons row, Achilles with confidence, Hebe with play, Joan d'Arc, or Joan of Arc obviously, with faith, Epimetheus with carelessness, and Isis with resurrection. Now, since Isis is turning up in the Archon row, I won't be drawing a card for her from the Isis Oracle, if I can remember where I put it. Changi again. You have all just seen me shuffle all these cards, haven't you? She is happy to come out every night. Again, there's this message of releasing some obsession. So right. So, there's something that you are called to face, because if you do not face it, and you feel quite confident in facing it, but if you do not face it, you feel like things may go to hell in a handbasket. But the truth is that a little bit of chaos will do you good. It gets you to a better place. It's getting you into union with some aspect of yourself or some other sacred union here. That in the long term will profit you more, because also I feel that maybe having confidence that, oh yeah, I can deal with this, I can sort this, you could also end up becoming a bit of a cropper. Now, on your side, the gods that are trying to lift you, we have Set with chaos. That's that chaos that I keep telling you about. And that is clarified here by the King of Cups. So whereas you have confidence in dealing with it, try to have the confidence of, excuse me, of standing back and watching it unfold. Because that King of Cups is telling me that, you know, however it works out, you will be okay with the result. And then that is where the Chariot kicks in here, taking you to this form of union with something. Now, like I say, union one, this could be something inside of you, this could be something or someone outside of you. So it could be a love thing, it could be a going into a new business environment, going into a new job environment, going into a new learning environment, because again, this is your 9th house. But that call of difference, of different things of the 9th house is definitely prevalent in this bottom row. So as I say, Set with chaos, Psyche with sacred union, Athena with strategy, bear in mind that's a goddess of wisdom and war, and then Artemis, goddess of light, and Chang'e, who is a goddess who learned too late that having an obsession doesn't always help, and she ended up exiled on the moon. And if you've been with the live stream so far, then you are well aware of what happened to Chang'e, because we've discussed it already. So there is some event that occurs that you are encouraged to go on, you can deal with that. And I think what you need to do is not deal with it and is stand back and let the dust settle, because you could end up with 10 of Swords here. You could end up finishing something that you maybe don't want to finish, or you could end up, I think that you've been given this confidence by somebody going, yeah, well, we don't know what's going on, but you go sort this out. And it's like, yeah, okay, I can sort this out. And the best way to sort it out is to sit back and do nothing, because it is either confusion that has got someone to push you in that direction, or a rather malicious playfulness. But I do want to suggest that with the Ace of Pentacles here with Athena, through some form of confrontation, you are going to somewhere new, and you're going to a good new place, rather than keeping on building and keeping on doing the same of, it's like the Three Little Pigs. And the first two pigs both had such faith in their house of straw and their house of wood. I think that's got it right, because it was straw, wood, brick, wasn't it? Their house of straw or the house of wood, that it would withstand. What was I saying? The wind of the wolves blow it down. And it didn't. And so this is almost saying to me, you know, it's okay to, one, stay out of the wind, or go into the wind, fine, get bowled over by it, and that is okay, because it's leading you to a better place. Ace of Pentacles here. And the idea that you are wanting to bring something back into being, you haven't got the support for it, because whoever is around is not, they're not paying attention. They're too strict. They're too stubborn. So one person is going, yeah, you sort it out. And you are being given a false confidence to go, yeah, I can do this. And the fact is that, no, you can't, because it's bigger than you thought. A lot bigger than you thought. So, again, we've got a 5 with Chang'e. This is something that there may well be some very heated debate about. But there is a warning that you could be working with a goal or being manipulated here by this he being, this playful, yeah, go on, you sort it out, influence, that you are being manipulated to your own cost. Whereas if you take the option of standing back, yeah, progress will be slow afterwards, but it will be sure and it will be true and it will be accurate, and you will achieve your goal because you have already created that new start by standing back and letting the wind blow everything down. And then you go, okay, and now I can see what's over there. So do you know what? I'm going to head over there. I hope that makes sense for you, Virgo. There's very little more that I can add to that. Just that you want a new start in your more grounded, more material things, not necessarily in your action. If you are being called to action because of some form of crisis, then your best foot forward is to not put a foot forward at all and just go, no, you know what? I'll wait this one out. Okay, Virgo. Right, so